Now, we'll do a twofer on this one. I'm going to do this from the top, this next video. But I reserve the right to get aggravated and bug out. Because the thumbnail alone tells me this is a waste of life force to even get near. Yeah. Russell and Ben Shapiro, I guess talking about Jake Paul. Is that who that is? The YouTuber turned boxer? Is that him? I mean, I kind of wish I gave a fuck, but I really don't. But apparently this is Ben and Russell. This is by the way on Ben's channel. So he's seeking out Russell, or that it's a truce or something. And by the way, on here, Ben Shapiro, hashtag Ben Shapiro, hashtag Russell Brand, hashtag Soy Boys. I'm proud of both of them for admitting it. I think maybe that's why Jake Paul looks so confused and amazed that they're both calling themselves Soy Boys. But anyways, they uncover the problem with cancel culture. Finally, someone is getting to the bottom of book burning and the inability for people to be themselves in public. Oh, that's not what this is about? Oh.
The ability to make a mistake, I think, is crucial, right?
Yes, if it, first of all, human beings. Secondly, is anybody saying that people can't make mistakes? Nope, not a person.
Number one, I'm not a big fan of apology culture, in the sense that, unless you actually hurt a person, you should only apologize to people you've hurt. And I think that we're a society that basically suggests that you ought to apologize to the air. You should apologize to society at large. The society at large is not a person.
No. First of all, shitty apologies like the one we saw Will Smith do or other people do, where they're not apologizing. They are apologizing for getting caught being a piece of shit. I'm sorry if anybody's feelings were hurt by what I said, which is basically like, I'm sorry if there's a bunch of pussies out there who don't understand that I should be able to say whatever I want. You're not apologizing for the thing you said. You're apologizing for the reaction you got, trying to diminish that so that you can keep on doing whatever the fuck you were doing before you were called out for being an asshole.
Person who hurts. It's a person you hurt who you apologize to.
Yeah.
And sort of the general notion that you can do offensive things and then people have the option not to watch you.
And by the way, the act of, and this is a huge difference, by the way. There's difference between making a mistake and being intentionally offensive because you think it's funny, or you're in a, you're in a bubble. So you think, I don't know, we just talk like that. And then you do it in front of the wrong person, and it gets out that you talk like that all the time. And people are like, wait a minute, fuck this guy. What? That's how they talk all the time? I thought they were on my side of the aisle, or I thought they were nice, or I thought they were kind, or I thought they were a good person. And none of the good people I know act like that. So either that was a mistake, or they got caught being themselves. The mask came off, the guard got dropped, and they showed their real selves. If it was a mistake because they were like, I had no idea that word was offensive, or I was not intending offense by saying that word, I was trying to convey a point that I believe is actually good, that happens. That would be the mistake part in theory. But getting caught is not a mistake. And if you're apologizing, I made a mistake and I apologize if anyone's feelings were hurt. And you can say that and really not mean the mistake was what I thought and said, and that's an attack on people, and it was a mistake for me to, to articulate something so awful and carelessly do so, blah, blah, blah. But you can also say that exactly what I said and mean it was a mistake, and I'm sorry if anyone's feelings were hurt, because it was a mistake to say it in front of Sam, because Sam's got a big fucking mouth. It's the same rule about outrageous. If you're saying it's outrageous, it's true. And the same thing is true of I made a mistake and I apologize if anyone's feelings were hurt, blah, blah, blah. Because the mistake could have simply been I made a mistake and I, was a bigot in front of somebody who wasn't on the team.
Right.
Obviously, that I think that's the best possible solution to a lot of these things. People have the ability to engage or not engage with your content, and I think that's a better way of doing it than sort of putting secondary pressure on people who advertise or people who may engage with your content. Well, you shouldn't engage with this content because if you do that, then that makes you complicit or whatever that is.
Yeah, that doesn't happen in the mistake world. That happens in a mask off, being a prick part of this thing. When you discover someone is actually a piece of shit or a grifter or a liar or misrepresenting who they are, or quite frankly, a violent predator. Because in most of the cases where genuine quote unquote cancel culture has happened, where, where people are like overtly bigoted and on a concert tour of colleges because they know people are going to show up and tell them to go fuck themselves, and they don't go to fucking red states, go to PragerU or Liberty University and that shit. They go to fucking Berkeley and all that kind of stuff because they know the other side of the campus is way weighted in their political opposition, and those people will show up and they can go, I'm being shut down, and then they sell this narrative that they're not allowed to be themselves and yada yada, even though if they articulated their point of view in a non-bigoted and non-racist and non-grotesque way, if they were capable of it, they would. But it wouldn't make them any money. Because I got news for you. There are plenty of Ben Shapiro's and Milo Yiannopoulos' that talk on college campuses that you have no fucking idea who they are. And they say inherently politically the same thing. They just steer clear of the buzzwords and the trigger words, and nobody fucking notices. They just give normal speeches to the college Republicans, and nobody gives a shit.
I'm not a big fan of that sort of attitude generally.
So you don't have the T-shirt or the pendant or the tour book. You're not a huge fan, or just a marginal fan, or like this is so stupid.
But it's
nor am I, because it seems. I tell you why.
It's dangerous. There's no limiting principle.
Maybe it's dangerous, and also maybe it's insincere. Even
well,
worse
it's
than
usually
that.
insincere.
Yeah, it's usually insincere. People who get mad about people who make gay people or transgender people or women or anything feel terrible or violated or attacked. If you are moved by seeing that, it's probably you're broken and you're faking it. Anybody who gets mad about women losing their right to choose or anything, it's performative. It's really just to get laid. Can you see how much projection is going on?
Usually insincere. It's a power game. It's a power game.
Yeah, it's a pact. So, can I carry on to make money, please?
You would think that, wouldn't you? Seems like the first thought that would occur to you, Russell.
Like it's like that's I agree with that, and it's more like instead of perhaps apology, maybe sort of gratitude. Like be grateful to be in the world, be loving, be embracing, open-hearted. These are the kind of ideas that.
Yeah, why aren't they grateful? Why aren't people grateful to be, gay teachers? Why aren't they grateful to be called groomers when there's youth pastors all over the place trying to fuck kids and they don't get? I mean, why aren't we grateful that at least someone is being illegitimately called a sexual predator with no evidence, simply to gain points with a political crowd? Why can't they be happy about that? I don't understand.
My sort of spirituality give
fuck off
me to aim towards that
By the way, fuck off with this nonsense. This is jargon. What spiritual path, dumbass? Like, none of it. Now, have we ever heard him explain it? Like, he's got all the fucking yoga tattoos and he's fucking talks about meditation and this kind of spiritual abstract but what does it actually fucking mean? How does it actually determine your actions in the world? Because I have not seen anything in his regular show that would point me to a person that there is a spiritual pause in what he says ever. Maybe it exists, but we have not seen it. And if anything, it seems like, at least in a performative way, to borrow his word. It existed a while back when, he started with his meditation course and he was just basically doing stand-up. But once he realized his bread was on the fucking fuck Ukraine, fuck the U.S., fuck democracy side of the bread, he just blew off the fucking meditation course.
Direct my conduct.
He doesn't even sell it anymore. I haven't seen him do we used to see him do ads for it fairly regularly. Done.
And to direct my thinking. But I suppose what...
How? This is the same as Mike Pillow and his fucking cross. How is that reflective of who the fuck you are? Right? I don't mind if you say it is. I don't mind if you are driven by your religious belief, your spiritual belief, or your lack thereof, or your atheism, or your belief that we live in a Darwinistic society and the thing that makes, humans better than, crocodiles is the fact that we can think again about attacking someone else. And you try to live up to that as the purpose of a differentiating aspect of your species from that it isn't even moral. It's just that's what makes you human, and to stay human, you can't just murder and fucking slaughter and rape and do all these other things that animals might do because it's reversion evolution. Let's just say that it's that lacking spiritual principle, but that principled on a scientific level for your behavior, right? Whatever the spectrum is, I'm fine with it informing your behavior, but how? I think I just articulated the atheistic moralist system better than I've ever heard anyone articulate it, and I wasn't even trying. But I think it works. But you can't just say, it's like when the Ayn Rand crowd says, you're just saying, look, atheists can be moral without a spiritual path. And you're like, I'm not saying they can't. I'm just saying, what's it based on? Tell me what it's based on for you. And they won't answer. You're like, okay, then you're just bullshitting. You're using both of those concepts as a shield against your total vacuous, greedy bullshit lifestyle. And the same thing is true of this. Like, this is all fucking spiritualism, he's like a yoga teacher pickup artist doing cosplay.
I'm trying to offer is that I can see validity in sort of many of the points along that journey, even though I wouldn't do now what I did then.
Right. So the idea is that there are no mistakes and there's nothing to regret. And if you fucked up really bad and it harmed someone else, it's not really your problem, is it? Oh, fuck. Did Ben go to England? Because I think I know that restaurant. I think so. Wonder if Amy's still working there.
And also maybe it gives me the opportunity, that if I was to speak to someone who was being sort of incendiary around a particular topic, to sort of say, I understand how you feel. I suppose, yes, it's this.
Wait a minute. Incendiary? You mean like vaccines? Incendiary? Incendiary about Ukraine defending itself? Incendiary about voting? Or anyone's belief in their political ideals? Republicans largely centering on the fact that we are a constitutional republic, believing that the Electoral College should be the driving force for the choice of leaders in the country, and Democrats believing that one person, one vote has value as the primary driver of the federalist system that we have, that every person should have a voice, and the differentiation between those two party ideals that give them both a reason for existing, just bullshit both of those away. They don't matter. It's all nonsense.
How do we talk to one another with compassion and respect?
Some grace, right? Some grace. So I think that the worst thing that happens in sort of the public debate now is the old tweet game, right? I hate the old tweet game. The old tweet game. They dredge up something you said a long time ago, and then they destroy your life with it. Which, by the way, people who are, I think, across the political spectrum have had this kind of experience in a bunch of areas. The problem with a lot of these is that he doesn't have a problem with the old tweet game.
As a matter of fact, he went after Sam Cedar, I think, for an ironic tweet about, dealing with gun violence, I think it was, about, killing kids or, or sexual predators and the like. They'll go back and, when somebody's speaking ironically, and go after them and say, see, I told you the left is full of these fucking monsters. And also, none of us have a problem with anybody who a long time ago was found to have said all kinds of fucked up things about sexing kids, for example, and getting canceled for it. I don't have a problem with that. And in most cases, the degree to which these people have been bounced, usually tax highly in that direction. And as far as Trump, he didn't get fucking bounced until he was the foundation of an insurrection, a failed insurrection.
Game, which is okay, you wrote a tweet back in 2009, and it's now 2023, and I've destroyed your entire career by citing this old tweet from 2009. And it's a game I don't play, right? The This You kind of game that they do on Twitter. Is this you? And then they cite a tweet from 2014.
Yeah, that's not the same thing as cancel culture. Is this you? Is when people go this you, a lot of people are throwing that stuff up where they're moralizing. It's not that we're going to get you canceled because you said this old thing and we just found it because we dug it up because you were too stupid not to broom it. It's because you're some baseline the left has a problem with women being elected, and that's why they don't like Nikki Haley. And then you look back and go, you find a tweet of theirs that's quoting Rush Limbaugh and saying the problem was when women started to vote, that's when the country started being shitty. And that's the this you part. It's a hypocrisy comment. People don't get fucking kicked off for the this you part. It's like listen to your grandfather explain the interweb.
On a different topic that doesn't seem to be quite on point, but it's it's supposed to humiliate.
Or maybe you don't make the connection.
Yeah, you make you feel bad about what it is that you're saying. And again, I guess the question...
When you don't, apparently. It's an attempt to make you feel bad about what you're saying because you used to say the exact opposite and you never said you changed. You just are lying and someone brings it up. And they're trying to make you feel bad, and they don't realize that you're in the fuck your feelings crowd, and then you're getting fucked right in the feelings, and it feels fucked.
The easy way to tell whether somebody's being sincere or not is whether they want an answer. If somebody were to come to you and say, Russell, explain to me what you were doing, back in 2001, when you did that, what was going through your head?
Yeah, it's our responsibility. Yeah, it's everybody's responsibility when they stumble upon an absolute act of hypocrisy in your social media accounts when you're being a bigoted, thuggish asshole to go, why was that? Oh, you were just being a cunt. I see. All right, you know what? That's what I thought.
And you told the story. You said, okay, I understand that you wouldn't do it now. That obviously is something. There are a lot of service people who are affected. It was negative. It hurt them. And you'd say, yeah, I wouldn't do it now because I kind of see the downside of having done it. But
I see the downside of having done it. Not thought it, not felt it, not wrote it. Done it. Again, this is the exact same thing with the apology I said earlier. The whole it was a mistake and I apologize if anybody's feelings were hurt because you weren't supposed to hear it, you disgusting animals.
You can see what I was trying to do. I see what you're trying to do, but it was that's a conversation. But that's not normally how it's approached. The way that it's normally approached is now Russell Brand, now he's doing. He wants to be a guy who's warm-hearted and embracing and full of grace. Well, where was he on 9/11 when he was wearing the Osama bin Laden costume? Right? That's not a question. That's an accusation. And I've never seen a question.
And they're like, and he's like, oh, where was I actually? I was really fucked up then. Yeah. You had to bring that up, didn't you? I thought you were a friend, Russell. Fuck. I forgot. I just realized in this one moment that you're competing for viewers and you're trying to snipe. You just reminded people on your interview of me of something that will pull viewers from me to your account. You bastard. You lie bastard.
An accusation is a matter of tone, but it's definitely there. And there's this...
A matter of tone. I'm out. This is so tiresome. This is... there is a I don't know what there's a trend right now in right wing I don't know, I guess they're interviews, but they seem like just, mutual masturbation sessions that these assholes are doing. And they're all fucking boring. Ramaswamy, the guy who's running for the, against Trump in the Republican primary, the guy who first, jumped in, he has a podcast. And I was like, all right, well, I probably should, if he's going to run and it's going to be legit and he's got the money to do it, I might as well check out what his thoughts are on things. And he's got, he brings on the same fuckers that Ben has on, or, Candace Owens interviews, doesn't matter. And the only thing I can say about those conversations is that they are fucking dull. For people who are like, in the fuck your feelings, I should be able to say whatever I want, freedom of speech over, uber alles, blah, blah, blah. It is the most, like, it has to sound like me talking to a friend about D&D characters in middle school, where we just yammer hours and hours and hours about our, about our character classifications and whether they could handle certain things and the different adventures we'd been on and blah, blah, blah. Like it's just fucking, or listen to somebody argue a couple of people at Comic-Con arguing if Hulk could beat up Superman, because Superman's is always the same level of strength, but Hulk gets, the more angry he gets, the stronger he gets. So the more, if Superman had beat him, right, like that kind of conversation. It's all like that. That's kind of interesting. That probably interested a couple of you. But you know what I'm talking about. If you're not interested in those topics, you're like, what the fuck is this? Good Lord, it's boring.